Hello friends, welcome to Study IQ. My name is Dr. Mahipal Singh Rathod and in this video I will be discussing the One China policy with you. So why do we need to know about this One China policy? Because it has been in news recently and the reason for it being in news is Donald Trump's flip-flop on the policy. Sometimes he says something and other times he says something else. So before beginning the lecture about One China policy, why do we call it One China? Are there two Chinas? So the answer is a bit complicated. If you want to know the ground reality, yes, there are two Chinas. The first one is this one that we commonly call China. The name of this place actually is People's Republic of China. Okay, this is the official name, PRC. And then there is another China, this one, this small island which we call Taiwan. Taiwan also officially calls itself as Republic of China. So the government of Taiwan, they call themselves as ROC, that is Republic of China. So these two Chinas, they both claim sovereignty over each other. So Beijing is somewhere here. So Beijing says that we have sovereignty over this mainland China, but we also claim Taiwan. Okay, this is a province that was left out, and someday it will be united with us. On the other hand, the government of Taiwan, it says that although we are ruling over just this much portion right now, we claim the entire China, and someday we will conquer the entire China and it will be united with us. Now, how did this story begin? It started with the end of Chinese Civil War. In 1949, the Chinese Civil War ended with the Kuomintang or the Nationalist Party, which was led by Chiang Kai-shek. This is Chiang Kai-shek. He was defeated by the communists who were led by Mao Zedong. Okay, and when they were defeated, they all went, whatever was left of the army, they relocated to the island of Taiwan. And here Chiang Kai-shek ruled for the next 26 years as a military dictator, and he established the Republic of China. So the Republic of China, which had originally been the name of the country since 1912, when the monarchy was overthrown after a revolution and this republic was established. So from 1912 to 1949, this Republic of China ruled over. The Republic of China was this entire thing, okay, from 1912 to 1949. But in 49, they were defeated from this portion and they relocated here so that they could easily defend themselves. There was sea all around them, so that is why they retreated to Taiwan. So from 1949 onwards, this portion was called Republic of China, and this one, where a new government under the communists was established, this came to be known as People's Republic of China. Remember these names. Now, principally, both these countries accept this One China principle. What do you mean by One China principle? It means that this mainland China and Taiwan are not two different Chinas. Okay, so both the governments accept that in this world, on this earth, there is just one China. There is no two China. There's one China which has mainland plus Taiwan. We both are Chinese people and someday we will be united. But the problem is that this government says that we have a claim over Taiwan and they are illegitimate. It means that this Kuomintang party, which was defeated in 1949, we could not just defeat it from this province and someday we will have this. On the other hand, the Kuomintang party said that we were the true government of this place and the communists are just rebels who had conquered us, who had defeated us in the civil war, and someday these rebels will be defeated again. Okay, so this is the main problem. You see, both the countries accept that China is just one and not two, remember. And this is the same policy that they asked all the other countries of the world to follow. So that is the principle, and the policy that they asked to follow is called One China policy. It states that there is only one state called China despite there being two different governments which claim to be China, and whoever is seeking diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China must break their relations with Taiwan or ROC. On the other hand, Taiwan also says that if you are having diplomatic relations with us, then you have to break away diplomatic relations with the mainland China. Okay. So these are the countries of the world in this orange or light brown color that you see. That is most of the African countries, Eastern Europe and Middle East countries. they do not recognize Taiwan at all. Okay, they just recognize this mainland China, and they do not have much trade with Taiwan as well. They only deal with this country, China. But on the other hand, most of the countries in the world, the blue colored ones, they have some kind of unofficial dealings with, unofficial diplomatic relations with Taiwan. So you can see most of the major countries like US, Europe, India, Australia, they all have some kind of unofficial diplomatic relations with Taiwan. But remember, they do not recognize Taiwan. There is no Indian embassy in the capital of Taiwan, that is Taipei. There is no embassy of USA, no embassy of UK in Taipei. Okay. All these countries recognize only one China. So all of them follow one China policy. But this map is just to show you that although they accept only one China, but they still have trade dealings and other cultural dealings with Taiwan. Okay, there are only few countries in the world, these green countries that you see marked green, some Latin American countries here, then this small country called Burkina Faso in Africa, and some island nations of Pacific. Okay, less than 20 countries that do not recognize this mainland China. They said that yes, Taiwan is the only true China, one and only China, and we will deal and recognize only Taiwan. So you will find an embassy of Taiwan or Republic of China in Burkina Faso, but not of People's Republic of China. So the number of these countries is very few. Okay. You know why all these African countries do not deal with Taiwan at all? Because they are heavily in debt to China. China has supported so many infrastructure projects in Africa in the past 10 years. They are building bridges, they are building railway lines, they are building infrastructure projects like dams in all over the African countries. And this is the reason that they strictly tell these countries that if we are helping you, we are giving you loan or infrastructure help, you will not deal with Taiwan at all. Okay. But they cannot tell this to USA, they cannot tell this to India. So these countries are in different color. They have some kind of trade with Taiwan. Otherwise, how would you get Transcend pen drives, okay, from Taiwan into India? Now coming to the China-US relations, which China does USA recognize and support? So this story is a bit long, and USA has switched sides in between. So when in 1949, when the Civil War ended, this People's Republic of China became a communist country. Okay. And also it was a big ally of USSR. In fact, one of the reasons that they won in this civil war was because USSR supplied them with weapons and ammunition and also other kinds of support. Okay, tactical support. So obviously USSR was an enemy during the Cold War. Hence, USA provided diplomatic military support to Republic of China. And in fact, PRC was not even a member of United Nations. The United Nations seat belonged to Republic of China until 1971, and they had the veto power as well. Okay, imagine just a small island nation and it had a veto power in Security Council. So they supported Republic of China till 1971. But things changed during the Vietnam War. Vietnam War was a big loss for USA. They lost around 70,000 soldiers, and a lot of other factors also helped US think that now if we have to establish ourselves in Asia, especially the Southeast Asia region, we need to get China on our side. Another thing was that China and USSR had a split. It means they had a war. They had a small war in 1969. It is called the Sino-Soviet War. And they also had an ideological split somewhere in the 1960s, starting from 1962 only. So they were no longer allies, and USA took full advantage of this situation. They normalized their relations with PRC. Why? Because whoever is an enemy of USSR, they will be a friend of USA. Okay, so now these both were kind of enemies. Also, China also wanted to be sure that if in future USSR attacks us, it becomes aggressive, then we have the backing of a big world superpower to protect us. Okay, so both these countries normalized their relations in 1972 when Richard Nixon, the US president, he visited China. This was the first time that a US president visited China. Here he is meeting Mao Zedong. This is Richard Nixon. And during this visit only that one China policy was finalized, and they said that yes, People's Republic of China does have a legitimate claim over Taiwan. It is not that ROC only has a claim to Taiwan, and they also have a claim, and they asked both the countries to settle it down amicably, and do not use force and so on. But as you know, the One China policy says that if you have to establish diplomatic relations with us, then you have to stop your relations with the other China. Hence, in 1979, USA officially broke off all its diplomatic relations with the Republic of China. Okay, but imagine it still has good relations with Taiwan even till today, and they have been a huge arms supplier to Taiwan all these years, in the past 50-60 years, despite not having diplomatic relations with them. What do you mean by not having diplomatic relations? It means that you won't have embassy of USA in Taiwan, you won't have the embassy of UK over there, okay? But you will have some kind of diplomatic you will have some kind of trade office or a cultural office, and most of these countries, like even India has a trade office over there. They manage in this manner, okay? They don't have embassies, but they have private entities or like trade organizations which do the job of an embassy, an actual embassy, okay? So USA has basically shifted its stance very strategically towards PRC. Why? Because PRC has now become one of the fastest growing economies in the world, the largest economy, the second largest economy in the world, and it is necessary to have good relations, to have good trade dealings with China. No country in this world can today afford to be an enemy of China, okay? Because their trade will suffer. It goes for every country on this earth. China has trade relations with almost every country on this earth, okay? But on this other hand, they have to keep a check on the strategic ambitions of China. For that, they still supply arms to Taiwan. Even recently, during Barack Obama's time, America sold weapons worth $6 billion to Taiwan, okay? And for this, the Chinese government was very angry with Obama administration. They even threatened to call off some small trade deals, but they didn't do that. But the thing is, they still support, you have to understand this, USA still supports Taiwan in some manners, but for diplomatic, for official purposes, they accept that there is only one China, and that is PRC, okay? Now, what has been the current imbroglio? Imbroglio means an embarrassing or a very confusing situation. So the current situation started when Donald Trump, during his election campaigns, he started threatening China that I will revise this One China policy, that I will revise your One China policy unless USA gets better terms and conditions on trade deal. See, US and China has almost $600 billion worth of bilateral trade, but in this, the majority of the trade is from China, okay? The majority benefiter from this bilateral trade is China and not USA. So Donald Trump said that to reduce this trade deficit, I will impose a 40% tax, 45% tax. Then people asked him that why will China pay you 40% extra tax to export anything to USA? Then he said that because I will remove the One China policy, I will revise it. So this did not go down well with China. Also, there was another reason. The president of Taiwan called Donald Trump when he won the election, and Donald Trump picked up the phone and he took that congratulatory message. This has never been done in past 40 years. All the US presidents, they accept congratulations only from PRC, okay, not from Taiwan. They do not accept congratulatory messages from Taiwan, but Donald Trump did, and this also made China very angry. So China did not even wish Donald Trump on his inauguration, that is 28th January. They did not wish him officially, and it is customary for all the world leaders to call the US president, but Xi Jinping did not call Donald Trump. Finally, after 20 days, on 10th of February, they talked, and at this time, the president of the United States, Donald Trump, said that I will respect One China policy, as we have done for the past 45 years, it will be respected. So you see, he has changed his stance. He has done a big flip-flop on the One China policy. So I hope you understood this lecture. If you like our videos, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much for watching.